Welcome everyone to Explore Classroom. My name is Jennifer Bergen. I'm a National Geographic explorer and an educator, and I will be your host today. At National Geographic, we believe that anyone can be an explorer, and you have the power to make a difference in the world no matter your age. Explore Classroom is here to inspire you with stories from the field and to connect you with our National Geographic Explorers live to answer your questions. So before we get into today's lesson, I'd like to welcome all of our classes who are joining us today, but especially some of our registered guests. Hello to Class 5O at Casimir Pulaski School in New York. Hey to Marshwood Great Works School in Maine, Hillard A. Wilbank School in Georgia, Lyman Elementary in South Carolina, Ulango E-Learning in Mexico, TLVL in Estonia, Eric Harvey School in Canada, and Escuela Tribu Viva in Colombia. We are so glad that you are here with us and that you are joining the last event we are hosting for the year 2024. We saved a really good one for the last one. So today, our explorer is Esther Horvath. Esther is a photographer who documents behind-the-scenes stories of climate researchers and scientific expeditions in polar regions. So think about the North and the South Pole. She's particularly fascinated by women scientists who have dedicated their lives to conducting research in the Arctic. Now, Esther's work highlights the crucial role that these women play in studying and understanding how the polar regions are changing over time due to climate change. And she follows them on these scientific expeditions and documents who they are, why their work is so important, what they're doing, and what life is like when you are in a polar region. Esther's work takes her to the icy village of Ny-Ålesund in Svalbard, Norway. Now imagine working in one of the coldest places on Earth, surrounded by snow, glaciers, amazing wildlife that you likely don't find where you live. And not only that, she's uncovering incredible science stories. We are so excited to have Esther here live with us today, and she'll be answering your questions later. But first, Esther is going to take us into the field. We're going to go all the way to her icy village of Ny-Ålesund, and she's going to tell us more about her work there. So get on your jackets, your mittens, and your hat. We're going to connect with Esther in the field.
Hi, I'm Esther Horvath. I'm National Geographic Explorer. I'm a photographer, and I'm right now in Ny-Ålesund, Svalbard, Norway, in a place which is very special. Ny-Ålesund is the northernmost community of the planet. This place, Ny-Ålesund, is very unique and very special because the entire town, everyone who lives here, is dedicated to work for climate and environmental research. If we want to understand climate change, we cannot look at just one day. We have to look at long-term observations. And I'm here right now to document this scientific research, what is happening here. I will go out in the field with scientists, with engineers, with staff, and I'm very happy to be back here. I come here very regularly documenting scientific research. I come here also during the polar night when everything is completely dark the entire day. And I come here now also during the midnight sun, when the sun is still up. And I would love that you join me for these field trips and that you can see what scientists are doing, that they can deliver very important scientific data for humanity, for our understanding how the Arctic region is changing. Let's join, let's do it together. And today I'm here with a friend of mine. She's an engineer. She's from the Norwegian Polar Institute, and she works here with her colleagues every day, also at this place, at the Zeppelin mountain. And I would like to introduce you to all. to Hege.
Hi everyone,
And maybe you can introduce yourself.
my name is Hege Rensvasan Krokvik and I'm an engineer at the Norwegian Polar Institute. And today you are going with me up to Zeppelin in this cable car. So come on, let's go. Welcome to the cable car. We take this car every working day, me and my colleagues, up to Zeppelin Mountain. It's a commute for 10 minutes. So it's 10 minutes with either relaxation when it's totally dark outside, or 10 minutes of enjoying the view in the summertime.
Let's see how it looks like. Hege, I think I would love to ride this cable car every single day for this view.
Yeah, it's a luxury.
Yes. I'm here now on the top of Zeppelin Mountain and I'm getting ready for the photo shoot with Hege. And I want to do the Women of Arctic Science portrait series with her, the project what I'm doing. So first I'm just testing the lights. But before I take this type of portraits, I always have a concept in my head. I always think about where I should take this picture, what she should wear. Of course, we discuss it, if she likes it or not, and also what the person should hold in her hand. But it's all like I have an idea and then we discuss it. And in this case, Hege liked the idea with the air filter. Hege, I know that there is a reason why this observatory is so high up on Zeppelin Mountain. Can you please tell us something about that?
Yes, of course. We have it this high on the mountain because there's something called the inversion layer. And the town is below it and we are above it, which means that the pollution from the town, where everywhere there's people, we have pollution. It won't reach the mountain, which means that what we measure here is a very good indication of how the world is doing. And all over the world we have some kind of measurement stations so we can figure out where the pollution comes from.
Thank you so much that I could follow you here on the Zeppelin Mountain, and I'm happy to take the cable car down and going back to town.
Very good. Thank you.
Brr. It looks so cold there, but it also looks so cool. And that view from the top of Zeppelin Mountain, it's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Students, before we go back to Esther to meet more scientists, I have a question for you. Teachers, come get close to your keyboards. We're going to have you answer a question for your class. Now, Esther said that everyone in town is there to do climate research, and they need to make repeat observations so they can do their work. Why do you think a climate researcher needs to stay in that village and track the same measurements over and over again for many years? You're going to see a poll that just popped up on your screen, and I'd like for you to select a choice. Now, get the votes from your class because here are your choices. A, do they stay and track again and again over years because they need to understand how things change over a long period of time? B, they have to write down what they forgot to write last time they did research. C, it makes their work sound more important when they spend a long time in the field. Or D, they just want to stay in their favorite place. Okay, again, why would a climate researcher have to stay in the same village for many years, tracking measurements over and over again? Teachers, the poll should be coming up on your screen now, and I'm going to pause and get quiet and give you and your class time to answer. Here we go. All right, You had some time to answer, and I'm curious what you had to say. On YouTube, our results were almost all A. And in our Zoom poll, nobody picked B, C, or D. They all chose A. Well, lucky for you, that's the correct answer. Climate researchers have to track the same measurements for many years because climate change happens slowly. And by studying these changes, scientists can understand patterns that repeat over time or alter. They can then predict how much the climate might change in the future. And this long-term data helps them figure out things like rising temperatures, melting ice, changing rainfalls. And then through understanding the changes that are happening in these regions, we can predict what will happen to the environments where all of us live, because the polar regions impact us all. Great work, friends. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And we're going to head back to Ny-Ålesund. We're going to find out who is next on Esther's photo shoot today.
We are now on the boat of Avipep on Jean Floc, and with the Yes team, Lola and Max and Alex, 4 of us. And I'm so excited to see the scientific research, what's going to happen. So maybe if you can, before you deploy, if you could tell us what is going to happen, Max?
Of course. So this is the CTD, and with this device we can measure the temperature and the salinity of the water at different depths.
So and now all the data is saved into this instrument?
Into this instrument. So when we return to the laboratory, we attach it to the computer and we have all the information.
Lola is going to deploy one of my favorite tool or like scientific instrument, and that is the net.
So this is the plankton net, or one plankton net as it can be, and with this net we go through the water and we filter the little animals that are in the water and also the little plants, we call it by phytoplankton or microalgae. So now you see the water's going out and is filtered into this little red part down here.
There is not much, but there is something. We will have to see under the microscope.
So now we can go back in town. Okay, nice. I'm so happy to be here now with Alex, who is just arriving. And come here. Alex Eickelmann is the station leader of the French-German Arctic research base Avipep, and she is going to launch the weather balloon, which happens since 1991 every single day, even on her birthday, even on all the holidays, even on New Year's Day, every single day. Alex, can you tell me a little bit and tell us something about the balloon, what we're gonna see now?
So as you already said, it's a weather balloon that we launch every day. So around noontime, we have half an hour launch window and we launch this balloon into the air. It goes up to about 35 kilometers and we measure temperature and humidity and pressure in the atmosphere until that height. And the data is used by scientists around the world, but also by meteorological institutes who use these to make weather forecasts and things like that.
Now the balloon is filled, and Alex, what are you going to do next?
I will tie it off and tie an unwinder to it. So this is a long string that is attached to it. And to this we put our radio sound. So this is our measuring device. Up here we measure temperature and humidity and pressure. And then we have a little antenna that sends the data to us. So we get the data in real time and it goes immediately to our computer and then it's sent off to the institutes that use the data. So this I will attach to it now.
Fantastic. And me as a photographer, for me it's very important to highlight women in science. So that's also the reason why I'm following Alex's work. Like, I'm fascinated by science. I'm fascinated by science photography. These pictures are a part of my Women of Arctic Science project, which I started several years ago, and it's a growing project. And with that, I want to highlight amazing women like Alex doing scientific work for humanity. So beautiful! Let me show you what we did.
Wow. Esther caught such an amazing picture, and having Alex stand in the middle of the frame holding a balloon on that platform with all of the light coming in from behind, it just looks so epic, right? Students, we've met some incredible scientists and learned a little bit about how important it is to study climate change and to share what we have learned with others all around the world. Now, I have a few fun questions for you. So teachers, come get close again to your keyboards so that you can answer on behalf of your class. And I will stay quiet after each question so you have some time to think and discuss and share your answers. Let's get started. First, imagine you are a National Geographic explorer on assignment and you're in Svalbard, like Esther. Your assignment is to photograph all the climate scientists, and you've decided to do a portrait series. As Esther said in her video, before we begin, we have to have a concept in our minds. So let's look at this location, and I want you to take a vote. Which of these locations would you like to do a photo shoot? A, the scientist's home. B, the scientist's work site. C, in the field in the Arctic wilderness. Or D, on a research vessel like a ship in the water. Okay, think about it. Let's see the results. In our Zoom room, we have a majority of you saying in the field in the Arctic wilderness. And then a tiny percent of you said on a research vessel. None of you said at the scientist's home, and about 23% of you said where the scientist works. But on YouTube, 70% of you have also gone with in the Arctic wilderness. I think you want to go to the Arctic wilderness too, don't you? Okay, let's think about our next question, and it's about lighting. Would you conduct a photo shoot during A, a polar night, when it is always dark outside all day? Sorry, my school had an announcement. Silly. B, would you prefer to do polar day when it's always light outside? Or C, both? You'd do 2 photo shoots. Okay, I'm going to get quiet again. Share your lighting answer. Okay, in our Zoom room, it's tied. 7% say polar night, 7% say polar day, but a whopping 86% say do both. That's a lot of extra work, but you've got to do what you've got to do. Okay, what about our friends on YouTube? The friends in YouTube say, oh my gosh, it's almost the same amount. 15 people voted for A, 15 people voted for B, but 70% said C, do both. Okay, so we can give that recommendation to Esther if that's not what she already does. Now, final thought for your photograph series. To make all these portraits in a series, we need to think about the scientists and what they should be holding during the photo shoot. These attributes really make a photo come to life. So what would you like your scientist to be holding? A banner with messages like save the planet in their language to invite other people around the world to save the planet too. B, a snowball, maybe to show what they're studying in the Arctic. C, a toy polar bear. Or if they're at the South Pole, a penguin. Something that symbolizes Arctic wildlife that's affected by climate change. Or D, a scientific tool, something that shows what they do in their research. Okay, I'm getting quiet. I want to know what you think. All right, in the Zoom room, a few of you, about tied amounts, would say a banner or a toy. Very few of you picked a snowball, but most of you said a scientific tool. That's interesting. That's what I would have chosen too. And on YouTube, it's actually quite different. While there is a large amount that also says a scientific tool, almost 40% said that they would hold a banner. So fascinating, all these different artistic takes and ideas you have. So thank you so much for thinking about you being a photographer, considering what it's like to step behind Esther's camera, because now we have her here with us. Esther is here live from Ny-Ålesund to talk about all of her amazing photos. So let's welcome Esther to the show, everybody.
Hi everyone, so wonderful to be here. And right now in Ny-Ålesund, Svalbard, which is the northernmost community of the planet. And it's a research station where I stay here with fantastic researchers studying climate and environment.
Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for joining us. We just heard from the students about how they would approach an assignment like yours. So now we'd love to hear from you. Why do you focus on women scientists? And do you have any more photographs that you can share with us?
Yes, I would love to share that the polar night, we could see the polar day in the video, and I have a selection of portraits which were taken in the polar night, which is here about 4 months. The reason I started to photograph women because when I was 6 years old, I was born in Hungary, and there was a scientific magazine in TV which always started with the same intro that scientists, male scientists, were marching in a snowstorm in Antarctica. I love to watch this scene, but me as a little girl, I felt like I never see any women doing this. I never had a role model in front of me. Also because during that time when I grew up, there were really almost no female scientists in the polar regions. Luckily, this completely changed, and I want to show with my work all these fantastic women working in research, in polar research. And here it's not only scientists who work here, it's also all the other personnel, like the electrician, like the person who works in the reception, or the person who works in the kitchen. Everyone who works here in Ny-Ålesund as a team makes this place so wonderful. And every single person in town has the same importance here. Either it's a scientist or a cook or a student coming here in the summertime, or the pastor, what we can see here. Everyone has the same importance because with their role, scientific research can happen here. And of course, there are also men here in town, but with my work, I really want to focus on these women who I never had as a child. And I'm very happy to read it in the questions that most of you wrote, that you would like to photograph a scientist with a tool, because that's also my approach in this portrait series, that I photograph every single woman in the place where she works or where she feels very much connected. And in every single picture, the person has tool, a scientific tool in her hand, and or something where she feels connected to.
Wow. They were all so beautiful and different, Esther. Thank you for sharing them with us.
Thank you so much for looking at them.
I'm particularly fond of the ones that featured pets, but maybe the students want to ask questions about them later. Okay, students, before we start asking Esther all of our questions, let's do one more short answer together as a group. Teachers, come back to your keyboards because inspired by Esther, I want to ask you something. Why do you think it's so important for someone like Esther to feature stories about female scientists and show what they are doing? Again, why should someone like Esther share the stories of female scientists and show what they're doing? I'm going to pause for a bit, let you share your answers. All right, the countdown's concluded, and I can't wait to share some of your responses that are coming in. All right, Cameron's explorers have said so that other female women, girls, they will look at these images and want to become scientists too. The Adventure Family Journal said she wants to inspire people to be a part of history and show that women are a part of this history. Class 50 in New York, hey y'all. They want to show, or Esther wants to show that women can change the world. I love that. What about the Wilcox Wildcats? They say all scientists are important, no matter their gender, and women are strong and creative too. I love to hear that. All right, on YouTube, some people are saying that women need this representation. They need to be shown in the Arctic. Angel Joy says to inspire others. That's right. These women can inspire all kids, all people of all ages. And Amy says to empower women to think about becoming a scientist as their career. You guys make me feel like I have a warm hug right now. Thank you, students, for these wonderful answers. Esther, can you tell us why you do what you do and document women scientists?
I feel that the classes answered my goal very well because, as I mentioned, that as I grew up, I never see any women working in the polar research because there were really few, and actually only after the 90s females started to work in the polar regions. And my goal is to inspire young children, to inspire that you can be a scientist, work in the Arctic, but you can be also an electrician and work in the research. And I want to inspire that what is very important to follow your dreams, and whatever you like to do in life and whatever you feel a joy and connection to it, to do it. And somebody wrote, which I really share, that everyone is important, no matter the gender. It's true. And it's also valid for the Arctic. It doesn't matter if you are a female or a male. What matters is if you do you like the cold? Do you like this environment? Do you feel connected here? And that is what matters. But still, I want to highlight this incredible women to show also that there are so many women working in polar research, polar science, doing important work to inspire.
Yes, I just saw a note from Rogers Hall English class. They said that women are already doing the work in the polar regions and they should be honored for the work that they do. So thank you for acknowledging that, Rogers Hall English. All right, Esther, are you ready for kids to ask you some questions?
I am ready.
Let's get to it. If you are joining us on YouTube, send your questions in the chat bar. Our producers record them all, so you only need to type it once. But please do share your name and where you are writing from. We want to represent you geographically. It's in our name. We have a question coming in from a YouTuber who goes by Easy. And Easy wants to know, Esther, in some of your photos, there were red lights. What are those?
Red lights is used in science, for example, especially now during the polar night, not to create artificial light with a white headlamp, to keep the polar night, which is right now around us in the environment, so not to disturb scientific measurements. That's why red light is used. But I think you also mean there was one picture which was at the polar bear safety training, where the person, the station leader of AVIPEP research station, used and tested a signal pistol. And that's like an alarming pistol, and that has red lights.
We have a YouTuber named Zach, and Zach is asking, how old were you when you got your first camera, and how did you get started?
I studied actually economy. I'm an economist, and that was my first semester. But I was 25 years old when I got my first camera, and when I had it in my hands, I fell in love with photography so much that I knew I want to become a photographer, and I knew that I want to work for National Geographic. And from this moment, I worked step by step, little step by step, to reach where I'm today. Of course, there is no recipe how you get there, but I think whatever we like or whatever we love in life, and for whatever we feel joy, it's important to make this one little step after the other, and it will bring us to the goal what we are dreaming about.
We have another question from YouTube. It's a class in Dix, Nebraska. So the kids from Potter Dix Elementary School ask, you say it's cold where you are. Just how cold is it?
It is today. I can only say it in Celsius. So maybe after you can see how much it is in Fahrenheit. But today we had with wind chill -25 Celsius.
Did you just say -25?
-25 Celsius.
Okay, I got a calculator. That's -13 Fahrenheit.
And it is not even that cold. It can get much colder.
No. Oh my goodness. Does your camera freeze?
And no, it is working very well.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. What final message do you have for all of the students who are turning into explorers because of this show?
I think what is important in life to follow your dreams, and whatever you feel, just trust yourself and do step by step. Whatever you feel in your heart, it can be anything, but what you feel in your heart, just to do it and work for it and learn for it, do it step by step, and work for your dreams, because if you work for it, if you learn for it, if you do the little steps, you will also get there. And maybe one day, hopefully soon, in some years, we will meet each other here at National Geographic Explorers community.
Let's do it. Raise your hand if you're in. Thank you, Esther, for encouraging all of us, myself included, to follow our passions and to remember little steps will get us toward those goals. Well, Esther, thank you so much for joining us today, all the way from Arctic Svalbard, and giving us your time and expertise.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was so wonderful to meet you all and meet all the classes and all of you. Thank you for inviting me.
Students, thank you for coming and engaging with us. You are the reason why this show exists. We care about you so much, and your questions were so thoughtful. Thank you for being with us today. And teachers, you make this possible. Thank you for sharing your students with us. Your time, we know your schedule is so compact. So thank you for bringing all of your kids to us today. And please keep us posted on more questions, ideas, projects that might come from this. If you tag us on social media, use the hashtag Explore Classroom. It's our show name, all one hashtag. So like many of you, Explore Classroom is going on a winter break. I can't wait. But we'll be back, all rested and refreshed next year, starting January 30th. We've got a really exciting lineup of explorers, starting with our Storytellers series. This series is going to feature 4 events, and we're going to focus on National Geographic explorers whose job it is to storytell. Some of them do narrative stories, photography like Esther. Some of them even produce videos. So join us. We want to celebrate telling our powerful stories, and you might get ideas how to share yours. Because, hey, we want to discover the stories that are important to you and uncover stories all around the globe together. Educators, please look out for an email. We're going to invite you with a blog post, and it's got all the information you need. You can also check out our website, natgeoed.org/Explore Classroom. And for the rest of the spring schedule, 2025, it will be coming in a few weeks. You don't know yet, but you will. It's going to be amazing. Lastly, we would really like to hear feedback from you. We are always working to make this show better, stronger, cooler. So teachers, we're going to give you a survey. I promise you it's petite. And let us know, how did you enjoy today's show? What can we do to make it stronger and more applicable? The link is coming in the chat. Now, from all of us at National Geographic, please have a wonderful day and winter break. Stay curious, taking those little steps towards your goals, and keep exploring. We wish you all a very happy holidays, and we'll see you next time on Explore Classroom.